What's up guys, AJ here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the #1 lead follow-up script that will crush it, get you more listings, and ultimately more sales. So you've been prospecting for a while and you're not getting a lot of results, you're not getting listing appointments, it feels like you're just kind of spinning your wheels and not really getting anywhere with your prospecting. And one of the problems I see a lot of agents have is they don't know what to do with the prospect when they're not ready to set an appointment for the listing on the spot. They don't know where to put them. They don't know how to continue that conversation. They don't know how to follow up with them. So what I'm going to show you is how to take a prospect that's not ready to list now, might be a for sale by owner, might be an expired, might be a circle prospect. Take that conversation and move them into what I call a nurture, and then start a long-term lead follow-up sequence. So this is what it sounds like. So let's just say you're calling an old expired. You tried to close a couple times, you're not really getting anywhere. They're polite, but it's pretty obvious that they're not going to list their house right now or set a listing appointment. It's more of a condition of why they can't sell, which is, again, the reality, like they just can't sell right now. Maybe their job transfer didn't come through. Maybe their kid just started back up in school and they don't want to move them into the school year. They're just ready to stay put. So you've identified that, hey, I'm not going to get the listing appointment right now. So rather than just burn that bridge by being too aggressive, you want to pivot and turn them into a nurture. So this is what you say: hey, it's really been great talking to you, Mr. Seller. I'm sure you have better things to do today than chat with me, and I actually got to hop on another call. But just out of curiosity, I know you're not ready to sell your house right now, but when the time comes, would you be open to interviewing me for the job of selling your home? Or do you already have an agent that you're obligated to? Write that down and ask it just like that. What you're doing is you're showing them, hey, I'm a busy agent. I got another call I need to get on. You're respecting their time and saying exactly what they're thinking, like, hey, I need to get off this call. And you're seeing if they have another agent that they're obligated to. I made the mistake early on in my career of just following up with prospects that really weren't going to use me. They knew when the time came, they were listing with their neighbor. They just didn't want to hurt my feelings ultimately, which was nice of them. However, I wasted a lot of time following up with them. So you want to be very clear that they don't have a family member, a close friend, or like a neighbor that they're just obligated to. They're not going to use you. They're not going to hurt that relationship. The reality is there's just so many prospects out there. There's no reason why you should just keep beating your head against the desk and try to get them to not list with their sister or brother when the time comes, because they value that relationship and the agent's generally doing a good job for them. So they're not going to make the switch. So just find a new prospect. So we're identifying that up front. Most of the time they're going to say, no, I'd be open to interviewing you. I'm not obligated to anybody. So you follow it up with, awesome. What I'd love to do is send you some information. Would that be okay? They're going to say, yeah, of course. You know, they just think that you're going to send them some information. They're ready to get off the phone. So they say, yeah, of course. So you follow it up with, because you already have their address, right? So you're going to follow it up with, great, what's your best email? So now you have a great lead that has the full contact information, including an email address. And because they already agreed that you could send them some information, they're gonna likely just agree and give you their email as well. Now you can follow up with them also via email. And then you say, awesome, well, hey, I'll touch base from time to time, see if there's anything I can help with. You know, I'm an active real estate agent in the area, so if you ever need like a handyman, a painter, lawn care service, just let me know and I'd be happy to share my contacts with you. So you're proving to them, hey, I'm busy, I have contacts, I'm connected, because one of the biggest frustrations as a homeowner, and I finally realized this once I ended up owning my first house, is finding good people to provide services to your home, whether it's lawn care, handyman, painters. It's hard to find good, reliable people. So that would be a huge resource to somebody. And you let them know that, hey, I'm gonna touch base from time to time. So when you do touch base from time to time, you kept your word, and they knew you were gonna call, so it's not really a big deal. They kind of gave you permission. Then you count that as a nurture. And think about this for a second. In a 3-hour call session, And you should be prospecting minimum 2 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, so 10 to 15 hours. 15 hours really, unless you have too much business, you should be prospecting 15 hours. So in a 3-hour session, 5 days a week, you should be able to get at least a nurture an hour. Like, this is being conservative. So you're getting 3 people per day that said, hey, you know what? When the time comes for us to sell our house, we'll be open to interviewing you. Let's just assume you work 50 weeks. 50 weeks times 15 nurtures that you developed per week is 750 nurtures, 750 sellers who agreed when the time comes for them to sell their house, they'll interview you. That's just 1 year of prospecting. 750 people that you now have their email addresses, they're in a follow-up sequence, and they agreed that you could not only stay in touch with them, but they will interview you when the time comes to sell their house. I've listed properties and sold them years after the initial contact using this very exact strategy. And this is something that you should be tracking. You should be tracking your contacts, you should be tracking your hours prospected, and you should be tracking how many nurtures you're getting, because the people you're calling, those aren't leads, that's just data. What becomes a lead is when someone says, hey, yeah, you can follow up with me. When the time comes, I'll interview you. And that's what you need to be tracking, and you need to make sure that you're getting at least 3 a day. And what's so cool about it is, think about it. So let's say the person's like, you know what, we're not selling until next year. At this point, we're just gonna wait till our son graduates from high school. So we're just gonna stay put 1 more year and then we'll sell. Of course, things always can change. That's why you don't call them back in a year. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But that's just the reality. You know, it's like there's gonna be people that are just gonna sell years from now. And if you do a good job with your follow-up sequence, when the time comes, you will be the only agent following up with them. And who else are they going to list with? The random sign they seen in the yard somewhere? A random Google search? No, they're going to list with you because you've been diligent, you've added value over, in some cases, years or months, you were professional, you stayed in touch with email, text, calls, email newsletter, maybe a physical newsletter, maybe direct mail, maybe you invited them to client appreciation parties, whatever it might be. They're going to use you. I mean, think about that for over, let's just say a 3-year period. That's 750 plus 750, 1500 plus another 750, 2250. That's over 2,000 opportunities in just 3 years to list somebody's home. Do you think you could sell 2 houses a month when you generate 60 seller opportunities per month? Of course you could. That's exactly what I did, except I was listing like 4 to 6 a month. Now with the follow-up sequence, if you're using something like RedX or Mojo or Vulcan 7, doesn't matter what you're using, or some kind of CRM system, when you're KV Core, when you're using that, you can have your sequence built out so it automatically reminds you what to do. And I did a whole video on this. RedX interviewed me for their podcast. I'll see if I can't link it here in the description or have it flash up on the screen. If we're lucky, it'll do that, but for sure we'll put it in the description. Watch that. It has my entire follow-up sequence. But you want to take all the touches, and if you think you're reaching out too much, you're probably not. You're probably still not reaching out enough. You'll lose far more business from not following up enough than you will from over following up. In fact, I never lost any business from following up too much. But I had called back a little late and said, hey, just want to see if you're still thinking about selling your house. Oh, actually, thanks so much, AJ. We sold our house last month. You'll get that if you don't follow up enough. So have your sequence built out, and your CRM will tell you what to do. You don't need to think about it. It's autopilot. But you should have a combination of maybe video emails using a service like BombBomb. You could have text messages going out, phone calls, video newsletter, regular newsletter, physical direct mail, and just keep it simple at first. My first 2 years, I'd say, in business, all I did was calls. It was just call, follow up, call, follow up. And then what I eventually did is I put them on a direct mail program, and I just acted like they were already a past client. They were already someone in my sphere of influence. So they got the same direct mail campaign. They got invited to my client appreciation parties that I eventually started doing. And guys, I started this when I was 26. I was in a city that I had just moved to. I didn't have any contacts. So this was all built up from scratch. I started client appreciation parties. I'd invite them. I'd start giving away Thanksgiving pies at Thanksgiving. And it's not about, ooh, they get a pie. It's about that you're thinking of them, that you're inviting them to come get something from you rather than you always just asking for something. And it allows you to call them, inviting them to an appreciation party or a giveaway, send direct mail, a text. It's just a lot of touches around an event or a giveaway. So I would be minimum calling at least every month if they're 6 months, 3 to 6 months out. Over 6 months, maybe call every 2 months with a text in between. Every once in a while, probably every other text, I'd want it to be a video text or a video email using a service like BombBomb, KV Core, and I'd want them on a direct mail campaign, and I want an email newsletter going out. So there's a lot of different things you can do, and the purpose of this video wasn't to really get into that whole sequence, but that just kind of will, I guess, jog what you could be doing in your mind for lead follow-up. What I really wanted to do with this video is help you take somebody who's not a lead and turn them into a lead through the nurture script that I shared with you. And at this point in the video, you're probably thinking, well, what do I say when I call? What do I send in via text? Don't overthink it. Just be like, how can I add value? How can I treat them like a friend? So I'd call it Mr. Seller. Hey, Mr. Seller, it's AJ. We actually spoke a few weeks ago about the sale of your home. You mentioned that you were gonna list it coming up here in the next month or so. And I just wanted to see if that was still the case. So you confirm again their timeline of when they wanna sell to make sure that you're matching their motivation, because things changed. They might have moved the time frame up. So you don't want to miss that. So you ask them that and they say, yeah, you know, I did say that, and yes, we are still going to stick to that time frame. Say, awesome, well, hey, I just wanted to check on that and also let you know that, again, I just want to be a resource for you. If you need anything from handyman to people to install carpet, whatever it might be, as you're thinking about getting your home on the market, let me know. I'm here for you. Something simple like that. So you just touch base, add value, touch base, add value. And that's why the VIP program that I talk about in that RedX interview is so powerful, because a lot of the calls you're calling up and say, hey, Mr. Seller, it's AJ. Hey, I know you're not yet a past client, but I have this VIP past client program where all my clients actually get a free pie at Thanksgiving, either apple or pumpkin, and you can just come by, pick it up, or in fact, I could even drop it off at your house. Would you like to RSVP for that? They'll be available this Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So now it's like, oh my gosh, this person that just has been following up with me the last couple of months is now offering for me to drop off a pie, or I can come pick it up. You know, that's pretty cool. They'll probably turn you down. If they turn you down, you still get credit for asking. That's what's cool. And then start inviting them to client appreciation parties. It's just like this whole concept of a VIP program is just lights out, killer. That's how I built my business. What's cool, if you're like, man, I hate prospecting, I don't want to do this forever. As an agent, you always got to lead generate, but your lead generate changes. So eventually I got to the point where I had so many nurtures, most of my prospecting was to nurtures rather than new expireds, because now I had thousands of people that said I could follow up with them. So now I was prospecting continually into that list, getting referrals from past clients, from people in that list. And it became a really great way to run a business, because I was a listing agent. I had the leverage that comes with being a listing agent. I had the freedom of schedule because I wasn't showing houses all the time. Listing houses is just a more leveraged way to be a real estate agent, both in time and energy. And it really, really was awesome to prospect, because now I was calling people that, of course, some people would forget about me. Who's this calling again? But for the most part, they're like, oh, hey, you know, rather than like, hey, you're the 10th agent that called if it's a new expired. And I really encourage you to build your business this way. Be very intentional with developing nurtures in your business. Make sure that you're tracking it so you have a goal of how many nurtures you're going to get per day, per week, per month. And then also make sure that you're transitioning them using a CRM system to a follow-up sequence that's pre-built, and have that all established. Take a day, take a weekend, build all that out, and I promise you, you'll get amazing results and you'll love it. So appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're liking the content, and if you could hit that thumbs up button, that'd be much appreciated. We'll see you guys.